Welcome to Patent Insider Secrets, the podcast where we explore the stories behind innovation and intellectual property. I'm your host, Tariq Najila. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Dominique Megesi, an artist, entrepreneur, and inventor of the innovative VANGO Mirror. Her journey is one of creativity, resilience, and vision. Let's dive into her story. Dominique, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's start at the beginning. Tell us your story. You're an artist. How did that passion come about? What's your earliest memory of art and being creative?
I think my earliest memory of being creative, I don't know if you remember the first time the cartoon Futurama came out. I was watching that and I had to be like junior high school age. I was just watching it and I remember thinking, I feel like I could draw that. And that's literally how I started, how I became an artist.
So this is like a gift from...
Yeah, I just watched TV and something came in my head and said, you should probably get out pencil and paper and draw what's on screen. And that's exactly what I did. And from then on, it just kind of blossomed and I started drawing a lot more. Drawing leads to painting. Painting leads to sculpting, leads to modeling. And then that stuff has to translate technically. You go online, you start doing it digitally. And that's how I got to where I am today now. I'm a digital designer, but I always say I'm an artist first, a designer second. I'm still very much so an artist at heart.
This is amazing. You're saying that you were just able to watch a show and then take pen or colored pencils or whatever and just draw what you saw.
Yeah.
And I've seen your art. It looks amazing. It looks just like what you can...
Yeah.
Whatever's in your mind.
Exactly.
Did it ever turn into a business or some type of way to express yourself to others, or was it something you did privately yourself?
No, I didn't just do it for myself. So this is one thing about being an artist. I think it's something people don't think about a lot. Being creative is a really huge form of problem solving. A lot of the way our artistic people's, the way our minds work is we're always solving problems. And also how we take in the world, how we perceive the world around us it contributes to where our expression comes from. And so from being creative at a young age and wanting to continue that professionally, me and my sister, we started working together and doing commercial stop motion. So like social media gifts and whatnot. And a lot of that is very hands-on, very tactile. It involves puppet making. But it's also very technical in the sense that you do have to do animation, you have to do some post-production, you have to do filming. So yeah, that was a personal side of becoming a creative person, but also a profession.
Wow, I guess that's so stop motion is like the animation. It is like puppets or like...
Yeah, people call it claymation, but it's really claymation is a subset of stop motion.
Okay, so I've seen these like on a Cartoon Network and stuff where they'll have like
Adult Swim.
Okay,
Yeah, Robot Chicken, Shaun the Sheep, Fantastic Mr. Fox. There's a lot of stop motion. A lot of commercials are stop motion. I don't think people really realize the art form that they're seeing. But yeah, stop motion is pretty commercial.
Now, how did you learn to do stop motion? Was that similar? Like you just started playing with it?
Again, there's just a hands-on nature to it. It's so tactile. So stop motion, like I said, it involves puppet making. But because I like to draw and I like to paint and I like to model, when you have a really big skill set like I do, all of that sort of goes into this one art form. And that's why my sister and I love stop motion so much, because you get to combine all the things that you're really good at into this one form. And then you film it and you animate it and then you export it. And it's this nice, beautiful output.
No, is this a gift that you and your sister share together? Is she also an artist?
I call her an artist. She won't let me, but she should give herself more credit than she does. We're actually we do similar things. She's also in design. She's more on the education side. But yeah, both of us, we've always had a passion for essentially making things. Like you've heard of the makers movement.
Yes.
We both we love making, we love doing, and our skills work well together. I do have more of the technical artistic background, but she did an internship in New York for a while with a company called Hornet. And they quite literally take on all the major stop motion projects that you've seen for major brands. So we're talking like, I don't know, like Google, they did Bosch, they've done, gosh, they've done so many, McDonald's. So she interned with them for a while. And from that experience, she came back and brought that business savvy. And I brought my creative savvy, and together it was like, okay, this is perfect. Worked well.
Okay, so that's amazing. I want to pause right there. This is Tariq from Patent Insider Secrets podcast. I'm broadcasting live from the podcast summit right here in Atlanta, Georgia, where there's over 1,500 people from all over the world who have gathered to learn, connect, and grow. And there's one thing that's hit me hard this weekend: the power of community. Being surrounded by creators, innovators, and entrepreneurs reminds me this is exactly why I built the Patent Insider Academy. It's our community for entrepreneurs who want to protect, leverage, and profit from their ideas. If you've been getting value from the Patent Insider Secrets podcast, but you've got questions and you want to interact with me and other driven entrepreneurs, this is where it happens. We go deep into the 5 pillars of intellectual property and the 5 risk areas with real conversations, real strategies, and real results. It's just $97 a month at school.com/Patent Insider Academy. If you love the podcast, you're going to thrive in the academy. Come join us, because in the right community, your ideas don't just survive, they explode. In fact, we had one member, he joined, he took the modules, he said he was able to copyright over 20 different items of intellectual property based on the information he got from the academy. Don't wait, join today. You're talking about how I feel like we skipped some steps. I know that you said you went to art and then you took me to the technical profession. When was this art ever like a fun thing to do with business or with as a kid? Like I've seen some of your shorts and things where
Oh,
you've
yeah.
done some art like on
Yeah.
shoes and on denim.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
You're
was
right.
that the experience that got you into doing like looking at art as something more than just expression?
Yes, I would say it is. Like right after the Futurama thing, because it's cartoons, right? It's like drawing cartoons. I thought I can just draw cartoons on other stuff for people, right? And again, it's very funny how I just get these ideas. But one day I just decided I think I'd like to draw on sneakers. I just did. I think I'd seen it before, but nothing like it wasn't really as big as I think it has become, like the custom movement. And yeah, I actually remember it was Marvin the Martian.
Mhm.
That was the first pair I did. I did a whole space scene. And the sneakers were so busted. I wish I had did it on a new pair. But they came out so good. I loved them. They were awesome. And I wore them to work. I worked at Lids, Pat World, and I wore them just to work one day because we didn't have to have a formal uniform. And as soon as I wore them, people instantly started asking me if I would paint their sneakers, and they pay me. And of course, I wound up making more money painting sneakers than I did at Lids. So
Right.
that it quickly just became like a place for me to get customers, not really a job. So yeah, that was more the personal side of, okay, I see that this thing I love to do can make me money. There's a business to this. And yeah, I did that all the way up until I went to college.
Amazing. I think not all of us are, I say, blessed or don't have the experience that early in life that we're able to come in contact with something that we're passionate about and then have that experience at such an early age where your artistic expression can evolve into becoming a business
Right.
because you're expressing yourself. Those are your shoes. You're
Yeah. Yeah.
expressing your art, what you love to do on your shoes and on your clothing, your fashion. And then people say, "Oh, can you do it for me? I'll pay you for it." You're transferring that artistic expression and it becomes a business. You said,
Yeah.
this is not a place to work. It's a place for you to book clients. So you
It
go,
is.
it's-
Yeah, I made a good amount of money too. It was hard to walk away from that.
so how long after that did it take you to like crafting to become an inventor? Because I came to know you as an inventor. And
Okay.
then I got to know this wonderful artist behind the invention and innovation. How did have you always been innovative, or was there a moment where you can remember using this artistic mind to express solutions to different problems?
Yeah, so I would say 2 things. You remember that old commercial, the Invent Help commercial? It's like
Yes.
a caveman with a wheel.
Yeah, I remember those.
I love that commercial because I was always thinking, I've got great ideas. I feel like I should be inventing stuff. I store it in the back of your mind, like it's a nice maybe of what if. After I went to college, I did some painting sneakers, but not a ton because you gotta get your, you gotta get your head in the books. But I went to school and I did study art. Um, I got a bachelor's of fine arts and a master's of fine arts. The bachelor's was, I went to school for scientific illustration. So the story with that and why that's important to becoming an inventor is scientific illustration is like the boring side of art to most people. But my mom pushed me to go into it because she's, I don't know about you studying art. Are you just going to be a painting major? Because everybody has this idea that if you study art in school, you're not going to be employed. That's just like common
Right.
knowledge. I used to get it all the time. I'd wear like my University of Georgia sweatshirt and some old head would be like, "Oh, what'd you major in?" And I'd say art, and they always would be like, "Are you working with that?" So I went into scientific illustration because it is essentially it's the art of science. It's the art of technical information. So you learn how to measure things exactly and then recreate them exactly how they should be. So the application for that is like technical diagrams. You have instruction manuals. Boeing is a big one when I guess basically you're talking about like maintenance on aircrafts and such. Those things require technical diagrams, technical images. So that's very real life application. When you go to doctor's office, the inside of the body, the anatomy, somebody has to draw that stuff. Somebody has to look at cadavers and relay this information factually for knowledge, right? And life sciences, you name it, textbooks, scientific illustration or technical illustration is pretty much around us all the time. Even when you open like an IKEA box and you get those instructions, somebody's got to draw those things, right? So I went to school for that. Quite literally, I would draw bugs through a microscope. That's what I went to school for because you can make money doing that, turns out. So that was important to become an inventor because in my patent here, thanks to you, I was able to do the illustrations. If I had not gone to school for scientific illustration, I probably would not have known how to do these myself. Very important. And then for my master's, that was a big one too, because um, I studied digital media, but my focus was on 3D animation, but more so 3D modeling. 3D modeling, it's another thing that's all around us. Every commercial, every movie you watch, whether even architecture, there is a 3D model of some sort. Most people, their mind goes to Marvel, but CG. Yep. If you say CG, you're talking about 3D modeling. Someone is in a computer making a fake image of something that you perceive to be real. I focused on that. And that was also great for Van Gogh because later on down the line, when I was communicating with my product engineer, I was able to work with his AutoCAD files because the file type is very similar to a 3D program that I use. So I'm able to render images, and those images also wind up being used later in the Vogue feature that we'll probably talk about at some point. So
That's
directly translated for me.
that's amazing. I think the having the foresight. A lot of times when we're, I don't know, 17, 18 years old going to college, we don't have the vision to connect like what we're passionate about. What are you gonna do? I don't know. I like business. Okay, a business major. I have no idea if that's really what you want to do or how it's going to benefit you. I like reading, so let's do English. I like art. Let's be an art major. But to look within that and find a technical application that can serve you well, I think that that's very insightful of your mom. And it's
Yeah.
actually to be able to actually say, okay, yeah, we're going to find a path, and then pursue the master's as well.
Yeah.
I think you're going through this path, but and I guess throughout that you're creative, you have ideas, you have inspiration. But at what point did you become an inventor? And this may be with Van Gogh, maybe before Van Gogh, but if it is Van Gogh, could you paint for us a picture of the moment that the idea for Van Gogh struck? What were you doing? How did it
Yeah.
feel? What did you?
Actually, again, my sister, we're extremely close. So we spend a lot of time together. And we were in a car and we were trying to get ready to go somewhere. And she said, I don't know why you can't put your makeup on in the car because the drop down, the visor mirror that's in there. She said, this is so annoying and it's in the way of the person driving. And it's just all these issues. She said this years ago, like over 15 years ago. Fast forward to she and I were traveling for something, some reason. And the issue came up again where like we're traveling, right? And we can't see our face in these little compact mirrors because we're holding them. And then when we hold them, you like your hands aren't free. And then even if you travel with one, it's not high enough. So it's not right at your face. You're like bent over looking at it like this. And we're just like, why is it so hard to just get a compact mirror that's a little bit more versatile, more multifunctional, just like works with you instead of making you just hold it all the time. But we were on a trip and we were stacking a bunch of stuff like paper towels and boxes just to get the mirror at the right height. And I came back from that trip and I was in my bathroom one day and I was like, this problem is not going away because I'm running into it at home too. So I got some
Oh, wow.
got some stuff that I had at the house. These are the bendy rollers,
Yeah.
right? This is a Target shipping box. Actually, there's like a little piece of foam in here to extend it. Yeah, this is obviously a crappy compact mirror, lots of hot glue and wire. And I FaceTimed her and I was like, look, it's what
You made your prototype.
I did. I made a prototype and I FaceTimed her and I said, I feel like this is what I'm after here. Like this is doing what I wanted to do. So that's when I think I became an inventor was that day where I decided to get out household items and make a working prototype. And I think this could be something. So that's how I started.
Wow. That's amazing because I think we call that reduction to practice. When you take a problem, you say, okay, I'm going to find a solution. Use what you had around the house and you make something, a functional solution. Now, how did you go from there to actually say, you know what, I'm going to make a product, what the design is. I'm going to make something that works. How did you go? What was the story there? Like, how did you bring it to life?
The next step actually back to I guess my background, the scientific illustration part. I went into the computer and started like from the crappy prototype I made, I started thinking like, how would I want this thing to look? So I know how I want it to work, but what would I take, let's say, to someone who develops products and say, make me this? What do I want it to look like? So I did some like early versions of stuff I thought looked nice, but then I was trying to figure out how to make it functional. And that's where I realized like my limitations because I'm not an engineer. And I realized I can take this so far. And so I got a few illustrations done, which I can share. And I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to take this to an engineer because he will understand what I'm trying to make work here. He can make it functional, but then he can also make it aesthetically pleasing. So that was where I went next with it.
I mean, and this is a lot of I think in my business, helping founders and inventors like yourself, creators, patent something. Part of the hardest part is actually these early steps you take to actually identify the problem, take steps to solve the problem, and then not necessarily do everything by yourself, but then say, okay, I've taken this where I can, let's bring in others. So that's like a moment that you had where everything clicked, where you
Yeah.
say, okay, I understand the problem. This is frustrating. It's frustrating me. I'm sure it's frustrating for many others. Okay, I think I can do something about this. But at what point along the journey did you say, okay, I actually really have something special here? I think this can really work. It's bigger than just something I want to have in my house, but I think I have something here that could be much bigger. When did that click for you?
Um, I think so. I would say once I started working with a product engineer in Atlanta, and I believe it's when I found you because we did the patentability assessment.
Yes.
It was to determine because you went through and you found all the patents of items that were comparable. And I think we found like the earliest one was like 1910. Like people have been trying to solve this problem since 1910. And of all the concepts you found, none of them were really like doing it. Like they were coming close, but it still wasn't quite there. And then also none of them they weren't multifunctional. So the ability to wear it around your neck, it's like we got there, but that was the only application. So you couldn't have it tabletop. You couldn't use it in other ways. And I felt like when you gave me that assessment, and then I started doing some research too on my own to make sure I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Is there something that I just have missed that I don't see? But I think you gave me that confidence. You could have something because we did not see this exact product that I was trying to create represented throughout history. I think that was a big boost for me.
But then the innovation is yours. I think what we do is we're giving you the legal discovery support and the information to say, okay, look, no, people have been trying to solve this for 100 years and no
Yeah.
one's close to what you have.
Yeah.
So like I think we found like you said, a mirror that's around your neck. I think we
Yeah.
found like some type of,
It was a waist one.
a
Like
weight.
it came from the waist and then
And then we had some type of, I think, makeup compact. So it was like on a stand on a table that you could move up and down, but it was not, then it wasn't around the body. So look, I
yeah.
think the multifunctional solution that you had was a concept that had not been addressed. And so
Right.
this is wide open. I think you created a market for it. And I think the way that the artistic aesthetic you brought with it also is different. We saw they were very utilitarian. It's very
Yeah.
functional,
Yeah.
but not anything
Yeah.
anybody would want to buy, right? It's like something you see in a movie or like a mad scientist video or something like that. Nothing that somebody would go in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like this. I want to carry it with me. I want to have it with me. I want to be seen using it. Uh, so I think, so what was that like for you? An aha moment, seeing that, okay, look, I can do this. Because after that, you did it. Dr. Parker
Yeah.
went from a concept to very quickly to a prototype,
Mhm.
actual product, design aesthetics on the packaging. Like that happened pretty rapidly. So that initial feedback for the patentability search and assessment,
Mhm.
what was that journey like for you? Because what I'm seeing on my end, it looked like it happened in very rapid succession that you were able to hit these milestones. Most people get stuck. How did you overcome those challenges and how did you seemingly move so quickly to get a prototype and a product?
I think, yeah, going back to problem solving, it's I had no idea what I was doing. Like full transparency. I knew I could handle the creative side. I knew I could handle like previs. I knew I could handle design and but big picture, the like how to get a product from basically an idea in your head to something you can hold that's tangible. I did not know what I was doing, and it turns out I tried to buy books on it too. There aren't a lot, so you actually don't know what to do in like perfect sequence. I'm looking for the step by step online. I'm looking for you have an idea. Now do this, right? And that did not exist. All I knew was, okay, I'll make the prototype. I know I need an engineer. And then I came to you shortly after. And then to getting from like a working prototype to manufacturing to fully starting a business, it truly was just like trial and error. And I did find myself really hung up on like the sequence of things. Like I didn't want to do something before I should be doing like another step. For instance, with coming to you and finding you and the IP, a lot of people told me, don't worry about the patents. You don't need that. That's expensive and you need to just focus on like selling and making your product. But if I had did that and then let's say this thing is great and it goes viral like everybody wants, I have no protection whatsoever because I've gone ahead and not protected myself. So I was very much so hung up on the steps. I did a lot of Google searching. I tried to ask a lot of people for help who I thought were in manufacturing. Unfortunately, I was surprised the number of people who told me just to quit. I actually had a family friend. I know he worked in manufacturing. I reached out to him for help. And he just flat out told me it's just too hard. I wouldn't do it if I were you. I wouldn't spend the money.
Oh,
And another guy my sister knew in manufacturing, same thing. I asked him for help. He said the exact same thing. And what I couldn't figure out is why is it not too hard for you all, but it's too hard for me to do? Didn't get it. But eventually, yeah, enough Google searching, enough of finding people like you were able to put me on to founders so they could help me with setting up the business. My product engineer, he works with a manufacturer in China. So he was able to help me with that step. But everything else, it was really just like piecemealing it. The books that I read, a lot of it was around like regulations, making sure that your product is safe, make sure you have like product insurance. It was just like so much information. It was so overwhelming. But yeah, it was a long process of asking for help, not getting help, and then just like using the internet and my own resourcefulness to just will this thing forward.
So that I want to applaud you. Number one, I'm saying that's amazing. Your mindset, your resilience, your disposition. Uh, a lot of times I want to call with founders, or we having a class or something, or I'm doing a presentation, and there are always these stories about these tough challenges. People say you can't do it. And then also we live in the age of DEI, people are saying that, oh, as a minority or as a woman, there's no way no one will open the door. I don't hear any of that in your story. Did you feel like it was harder or you had more hurdles or what was your, because I'm hearing a story of resilience, of overcoming, of focus, being determined. Uh, how do you, for those naysayers that just say it's impossible, you have too many hurdles, what do you say to
Mm.
them?
Um, I guess I would say, and this is probably coming from just the creative side of me, is a lot of being creative or being an artist is being true to who you are, and you have to honor that. And because people tell you not to do something, it is as subjective as art is, right? It's like someone saying, "I don't like your art" or "You're not good." You actually have to develop a thick skin. I think people have this idea that artists are very sensitive. We don't like criticism, but a big part of art school is quite literally putting your work up on a wall and having your peers and your professor shred you for about 45 minutes. So you do develop a much thicker skin. And in my mind, it was just, I've got you, you're an expert. You told me that this thing is worth pursuing. I've got an engineer who's telling me the same thing. And then I have my own gut intuition that is saying, go for it. Why not? So I guess that would be my advice is you don't really need as many people to agree with you as you think. If it feels right to you and you've got the green light, there's no legal process stopping you. There's no financial hurdle, then why not? But I would say as a minority woman, and this is common, funding was not that easy. Like having access to venture capital, that's a story we've all heard. You have people like the Fearless Fund, and there were a lot of grants, especially around the pandemic, that were helping minority business owners. And I was lucky enough to win a grant from Shea Moisture and Vaseline, um, or Vaseline brand, and that was really big. But prior to initiatives like that, there probably would not have been many ways for me to get access to capital like that. So yeah, it's a story of resilience and then like maybe a little bit of luck.
You have to rise above it. I'm hearing from you that you can't let someone else's underestimation or
Yeah,
bias stop you from belief in yourself.
yeah.
And
But don't get me wrong, there was a lot of that. Like I got a lot of criticism. That was I'm embarrassed to say it, but the social media trolls, I'm so embarrassed that it hurt me so badly. My sister shared a video of me using it on a plane, and I'd say it went like low key viral. And the number of people I got just like roasting me for my mirror, it was so hurtful and so offensive because these people don't know everything you've done up until this point, right? They don't know that I've been working on it at that point, probably close to 3 years. They had no idea. They didn't know all the nights that I spent staying up trying to get this thing just further down the line. They didn't know any of that. And all they saw was this output, which was some video of me just on a plane using it. And I think the video might have been like 20 seconds. It's just 20 seconds of a process that's been 3 years leading up to. And you put it out there for people to just tear you apart. But again, like I said earlier, you really have to honor you. It can't be about what a handful of people online think because you stop there and you let that really get into your psyche. You're stopping yourself from what the future actually could look like for you. So you just don't want to stop short.
I will say that this is such a powerful message because this is what I've seen again. I'm on the team. I'm working with you. But what I you went from an idea to research to engineer to product to investment to putting it out there. And then on my contribution, we got you a US, a Chinese patent, I think Canadian, UK.
Russian, I think,
So,
yeah, Russian patent at one
yeah,
point.
yeah. So you have an international patent portfolio. I don't want to make it get too deep in that because I want to talk about also your successes. But in the process where IP, how has protecting intellectual property shaped your ability to grow and market the VANGO Mirror?
It has, I'd say the biggest impact it's been is the conversations that I can have around maybe exit strategy. If someone, let's say, because this has always been my end goal here is to sell the idea. Full transparency, I don't love being a business owner. Surprise. I love the creative part of it. I always knew I would. I'm just here for the art. That's how I feel. So I always knew I wanted to potentially license it or sell it. And so when you start having these conversations with people who are interested in doing just that, you don't have, if your idea is not protected properly, it makes these people a little bit more hesitant to want to potentially negotiate with you or buy your business because they don't know, one, how long your product's been out there and who it's been exposed to. And they want to basically buy the novelty. They want to buy that exclusiveness. And if your product has been able to be easily reproduced in other countries and in the US, you don't know how many knockoffs there are already currently, maybe selling cheaper. It I mean, it loses the allure. It's just not that attractive. But when you've got a patent portfolio, it looks much more attractive to these multinational companies that are looking for this idea. And even let's say they want to take your idea and go into R&D with it and rebrand it, rework it. You still have that novelty in the sense that utility, all the actual idea itself is protected. So they're not so much worried about like the name or the color or anything else. It's they're truly buying that idea from you. So yeah, it gives me, I would say, it gives me a lot more options than I think I would have had, especially when we're talking about company size.
Okay. I have one last IP question, then I want to get to my favorite part was the show and tell. Is that you have a lot of show
Okay.
and tell, a lot of success, a lot of things that you've been able to do well and have gone well from VANGO Mirror. So the last question about IP is what was the process of securing your IP like, and were there any twists or unexpected lessons along the way?
Let's see. I would say so. I know we talked about the patentability assessment. I think the best thing was when my manufacturer or finding out my manufacturer was in China. And they actually, I own my tooling, but my tooling is still in China. I could go to China and get my tooling or have it sent over at any point, but I haven't, right? Because I'm thinking I'll still manufacture there for a while. And having a patent in China has been very important to me because I have no visibility into what's happening with my product from here. And maybe they are reproducing it. I don't know. But knowing that I have a patent there, if at any point I want to go ahead and make sure that I am protected and that no one is infringing on my rights, I know I have that option. So I would say that was the biggest kind of like, um, it gave me a huge sense of relief. I was very much so worried about it, and just knowing that I have that in place, that's been huge. One less thing to worry about.
Okay. Yeah, I think having an international portfolio gives you that option of enforcement. But if you do see it, if it shows up on Alibaba, you're like, okay, you can go through a law firm in China and sue and have recourse because you have rights in China. So this is what my favorite part to talk about is like story of Van Gogh. You have the prototype, you have the design, you have everything packaged. Uh, and this may be around the moment of the viral video. What has happened? What's the story of VANGO Mirror today? What does it look like? I've heard Olympics in
Yeah.
USA. I've heard Vogue magazine. What can you tell me?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So here we go. Final product. And I probably should have said this, but I think it's like in my mind, it's so implied, right? So Van Gogh stands for vanity on the go, right?
Okay.
But obviously I'm an artist and it is a play on words for Vincent Van Gogh. This
Right.
is a painter. So anyway, had to call that out. Packaging shape, I designed this. Again, back to my 3D modeling. roots here. I previs this in Autodesk Maya and then sent it to my engineer, and he was able to, make the physical 3D prototype for me. Opens up like this, like a book, and here you go. And so I remember when me and my engineer were talking, we are like, we want to make the iPhone of mirrors. And I feel like we totally did that. And back to my scientific illustration roots, I did the instructions here and
Right.
inside, and then product solves the issue, right? Comes up. I don't have to bend over. I'm looking right at my face. Yay. No more issues. And then if I want to wear it, and I definitely can't, I can get nice and close and I can look at my eyes. So
And then that has a little shelf there too.
it does. It has a nice little tray here. So if you're going to do like lashes, or if you need to put like glue or anything in here, well, sometimes I put powder in here just so it doesn't get like all over my clothes. And that's also the good thing about the packaging is it serves as a palette too. That's the thing. If you're in the car and you're about to put on makeup in the visor, you're gonna put your brush in your makeup, and then all that dust is gonna get on your clothes. Well, you can actually just sit this on your lap, and you can get the dust here, and this wipes completely clean. It's awesome. If I had a suitcase, I'd put it on my suitcase to show you, but super, super functional.
And it's not just super functional, it's a sleek design. All I could think when you were designing it and seeing it, it is like an iPhone experience. Or Apple, you have where the packaging is art, where, okay, I'm gonna keep this packaging. This is amazing. And then the product itself is sleek, it's stylish, and it's functional. And so again, it's not something I want to only use in my bathroom with the door closed in the middle of the night because I want nobody to see me because
Yeah.
it looks hideous. No, it's something that's actually pleasing. It looks professional. And this is the thing so how did you, I see you have brand partnerships, stuff like that. How
Yeah.
did the business grow? Once you got the IP, once you got the prototype and got the product, how did the business grow?
Like most things these days, which if you're like a digitally native brand, you start on social, started on Instagram, and Vogue reached out in 2020 and asked about being featured in the advertising feature for 3 issues. So I actually have the 3 issues here. There's 2 of them, and we're in the back, but I have one in particular that I want to highlight because this was a big part of you asked me about the aha moments and like what led to me becoming an inventor. I had already been thinking about this problem that I wanted to solve. And then Serena Williams did her HBO documentary, and she was giving birth, I believe, to her first child. So she's in the hospital, and I'm watching her in her hospital bed have all her makeup kind of falling down her body, and she's holding a compact. And it was just like, see, this is my point. This is what I'm talking about. And fast forward to a year ago, I had my first kid, and I had my mirror with me in the hospital. So that was a great moment. But also, one of the Vogue features has Serena on the cover.
Oh, wow.
To have her as like this inspiration for me, and then to have my product in right here.
Yeah, right there.
And above all, why this is really cool is this is a 3D render. I made this image completely. It's CG. It's not real. And that for me is just like just such a proud moment. Like my art in Vogue with Serena on the cover for a product that I fully brought to market is just wow. For the sake, just like for the love of being creative. Like sometimes it doesn't matter what success you think you have or what it means to you or what it means to other people, if it's financial. I feel like just this issue alone, just having this physical copy, this is the best success I could ever ask for. It has fulfilled me in a way that I'm like actually shocked that it could.
That's amazing. In fact, just remember the Serena story. It has to be like a divine author to that. It's just so
Right.
Vogue is a big deal. But tell me about this Team USA. Because
Okay. So a coworker of my twin, she saw the mirror and she loved it, and she's a swimmer. And it turns out she is affiliated with the US synchronized swim team. She just is, yeah. And she set up a meeting for me to talk to their CEO. And this was, I think, 2021-ish. He and I met online and we talked about a sponsorship. And basically, it was very organic in the sense that, because I think sometimes maybe you could enter into a partnership that it sounds nice and it seems cool because of like maybe a name or something, but it doesn't really suit either of you. I love this the most because it was like they changed their name. So synchronized swimming is now called artistic swimming, which I'm just like, hell perfect, right?
That's
Like,
made in heaven, right?
it's so amazing. So they're called artistic swimming now. And I'm like, look at that translation. Like you have a mirror that is created by an artist, and you guys are into artistic expression through sport. And sport was a big one. Like I always knew that this mirror would be perfect for athletes because they're on the go. And in a sport like synchronized swimming, it is very like showmany. Like you have to be able to, they put on a full face of makeup. Their hair has to be gelled back a lot to keep it out of their face. They use a lot of bobby pins, which my mirror has a magnet. So that was perfect for them to pick up all their bobby pins. It was just such a perfect match. And that I was really excited about. So she set that meeting up. We spoke. It was a great fit. And I've been sponsoring them for the last 3 years. And so that was truly just, I didn't do the work there. All I did, I just put it out there and that came to me very organically. So I can't take
So
all the credit.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hearing your story and I'm imagining what the next chapter of VANGO Mirror story is going to be. Like, what do you see happening next?
So I would love to revisit maybe in the future a Shark Tank. We'll say I'd like to be considered for Shark Tank again. It's like one of those embarrassing stories. Shark Tank called me in, I think, maybe 2022. And I was not prepared at all for the interview. I was like trying to become a mom. I was just doing a lot. The business wasn't the first thing on my mind. And I totally bombed the interview. But I think I still took from that is the casting producer, he absolutely loved the product. And it was funny when I signed up to do Shark Tank, I filled out the application like most people. They have a little disclaimer at the bottom that says, we get hundreds of thousands of submissions. You will probably not hear back from us like at all. They will probably put like a statistic, like you have a 0.001 chance of hearing back. When I applied for it, it was like out of sight, out of mind. And when he called me, I thought it was a spam caller. I thought he was joking. So
Right.
I totally bombed the interview. But above all, like I took what I could that was positive from it was the fact that they saw the product, they liked it enough to call me and potentially have me on the show. So I think I would just revisit that and I'd try again. And he did encourage me to. He said, if you get to a place where you want to try this again, just reapply. So that might be what's next for Van Gogh.
That would be amazing. You have the profile for those type of products. I can see either Damon or Fantastic. I can see one of them investing. Or any of the sharks. I think that's definitely something that they did with brands and presence. And I think you have all the aesthetics that, I mean, so if you have enough mirrors in stock, they're gonna buy up everything. Where can listeners learn more about your journey, your work in the Van Gogh Mirror? Like where can people order or
Okay,
follow?
so yeah, VanGoMirror.com. You can order from there or just find us on social media at Van Gogh Mirror.
Okay. And what's the legacy you want to leave with your work as we closing here? With your work and with the Van Gogh Mirror, like I know you said you have exit strategy, but what do you want people to take away from your artistic contribution to beauty and cosmetics and to innovation and design?
I would say, like, there's this phrase, I use it all the time, especially when I was deciding what I wanted to do for school and professionally. It was a phrase when people say art for art's sake, which is just basically, I'm someone who paints or draws or sculpts or performs for purely artistic expression versus someone like me who does things in a very utilitarian way, right? I have a lot of the art I make is for a purpose. It's either for a company or it's for a brand or it's to teach, right? It's to educate people. And I think no matter what you do, whether it's art for art's sake or it's for utility, I would say the legacy I want to leave is lean more into doing things just because you want to. That is a good enough reason. So art for art's sake is just because you want to. It doesn't have to be for anything. And I think here what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have to be for success. Um, I look at my journey and I think a lot of people look and they say it's been successful without being in the Vogue feature or without having the product go to the Olympics. It still would be successful just because I did it, because I didn't give up. And because I'm someone who considers themselves so far removed from any of this, I'm just like, I'm just an artist. What am I even doing here? Right. Just stay, like I said earlier, stay more true to who you are and just do things because they feel right. It doesn't have to be about going viral or making money or who sees it and who likes it and who doesn't like it. I think as a society, we've gotten very far away from just doing things because they feel right and because they're what we want to do that day. And not everything has to have this grand purpose in the end. It's okay to just do it because you felt like it. That's a good enough reason. So that'll be my legacy is do things because you love doing them, not because you love people's response to them.
And if I could just add to that, what I'm also hearing you say is if you're true to yourself and you're making your contribution, then that in and of itself is enough.
It is. It is. Yeah.
And you've done more than you've made a contribution. You've been inspiring, inspiration. I can just imagine how many doors you open and how many artistic minds you open by just expressing yourself through your artwork, but also through VANGO Mirror, through your efforts and how you're showing, and there'll be others coming behind you that can, I mean, even your own kids to see this, it is already successful in its completion of what it is right now. I want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time from what
And
I
thank
know
you.
is an amazingly full life.
You're
Um,
you're an integral part of this. We've been walking with each other like 7 years now.
yeah, we have been working. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a minute.
that's true.
Yeah,
From the beginning, I think, yeah, started this 7 years ago. So yeah,
it's been a while.
that's amazing. I didn't think about it like that. But I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen your evolution. I've seen your art transform, and I've seen it grow beyond you to where it's impacting others. And like the Olympic thing was just like totally blowing out the water. That's so amazing to see it come from your mind, your solution, to you and your sister talking about it, to from your to your prototype, then to the design engineer, to something that is representing our country in the Olympics. Amazing. So and that tells you the quality of what you produce is that level. And the success of what you produce is that level. I'm just glad to be a part of your team to help you get to this point.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you so much for sharing your incredible story with us today. Your journey is extremely inspiring. And the Van Gogh Mirror is a testament to the power of innovation, resilience, creativity, perseverance, and just superior artistic expression. I want to say to our listeners, thank you for tuning into Patent Insider Secrets, and stay curious, stay inspired, keep innovating. Is there if you had one thing to say to someone who's listening today, who's heard your story, one piece of advice? I think you've given so many gems, but I think one thing that would sum up for you, what would you say?
Anything is possible.
There it is. Anything is possible. Again, thank you for tuning in to Patent Insider Secrets. Stay curious, stay inspired, keep innovating, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.